end of Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Approximately 100,000 people in the U.S. have that genetic blood disorder. It impacts the Black community in disproportionate numbers. And raising awareness, helping people learn about it, that's a key initiative of the Black Women's Health Imperative. BWHI is the first nonprofit organization created by Black women to help advance the health and wellness of Black women and girls. And it's something that we fully support. Here to talk more about sickle cell is Beverley Francis-Gibson, the president, CEO of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. Good morning, Miss Beverley. We appreciate you coming on because we need to talk about this much more. There's still so much we don't understand, we're not aware of when it comes to sickle cell. So could you start here? What happens to red blood cells in the body when a person has sickle cell?
So basically with an individual living with sickle cell disease, the red blood cell hardens and it turns into the shape of a sickle or C versus being round. And as a result, it can't flow through the body as the normal blood cell would. So it blocks oxygen from traveling throughout the body. And patients then are living in excruciating pain. The example that I want to share with your viewers is that patients often describe this experience as having razor blades traveling throughout the body.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we've heard so much about the pain, the excruciating pain, and all the symptoms, and obviously that will have a huge effect on them. But according to the CDC, 1 out of every 365 African Americans are affected with sickle cell. Why is it? Have we found out why it's so prevalent in our community?
Well, it originated in sub-Saharan Africa. But we also know that while it predominantly affects African Americans, it also affects people from India and the Mediterranean communities. We also know that there are Hispanics that are currently experiencing sickle cell disease, but its origin are from sub-Saharan Africa.
There's a difference, though, between the sickle cell trait and sickle cell disease. Can you explain the difference and what future parents need to know if they're carrying the trait?
Well, one of the things that we've learned is that there are millions, over 2 million people in the United States that are not even aware they have sickle cell trait. And it's a test, that could be done to determine whether or not you have the trait. We actually have an initiative across the country that is called, Know Your Status. And we're encouraging people to get that blood test to find out whether or not they have sickle cell trait. Now, why that is important is that if 2 individuals who have sickle cell trait have a child, there is a 25% chance that that child will have sickle cell disease. And so we're encouraging people to know their status, get information, get educated, and be aware of what that those decisions can be. We can't stop people from having children, obviously, but we encourage them to know what is happening so that they can make wise decisions and then get help and resources that are available throughout the country.
Is this something, Ms. Beverley, that's diagnosed early on as a child? You did mention the 2 traits. There's a good chance that 2 people who have the traits could have a baby with the sickle cell. Is there how soon is this diagnosed, and what are the treatments for that once you are diagnosed?
It is diagnosed at birth for every infant in the United States, and that was law by Congress several years ago. So every infant that's born in the United States does have the test. What happens, however, is that in health departments across the country, some of that data is not kept after 2 or 3 years. So there's no consistency in terms of knowledge or information. What we've also found out is that some families are given that information in terms of a letter. So you're sent a letter telling you that your child has been diagnosed with sickle cell disease or sickle cell trait, and there's no other information. And if you can imagine receiving devastating news like that, because as long as the word disease is a part of anything, the reaction is immediately trauma. It's immediately you're concerned, you're worried, you don't know what to do. And we've also learned that most families stumble for 4 years before they actually find resources available in their communities for sickle cell disease. We have about 53 chapters across the country in 35 states that are providing direct services, education, and advocacy for families.
Yeah, we definitely need the healthcare out there, but there is no cure right now. You talked about the excruciating pain. So, how does one who has sickle cell how do they live with this disease?
Well, for one thing, I will tell you that we now have 4 FDA approved drugs for sickle cell disease. For over 20 years, there was only one. And so in the last 3 years, we've actually had 3 more drugs that have been approved for individuals living with sickle cell disease. But we also have information that we provide to individuals so that they can manage their pain. And a lot of that has to do with drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, avoiding extreme temperatures, cold or heat, because those are triggers for what we call a crisis. And also ensuring that people understand good nutrition, getting enough rest. Fatigue is one of the major complications of sickle cell disease. And we want to make sure that people understand that they could be more susceptible to flu and exactly the COVID virus. So that's one of the reasons why we're encouraging people to get vaccinated.
Yeah, and then there's the stress, right, Ms. Beverley? The stress can trigger sickle cell crisis as well. I wonder about the
Yes.
long-term effects because this is devastating to have to deal with some of this for one's entire life.
Yes. Well, we knew, I would say that a few years ago, the mortality rate was 30, 45. Now we're seeing people living longer with sickle cell disease because they have learned how to manage. But some of the complications lead to kidney damage, stroke. We see a number of people who have had hip replacements as young as 20 and 19 years old, vision problems and blindness, delayed growth, and men priapism. So there are extreme complications because of that block to healthy blood cells throughout the body.
Now, let's just talk about it. We got to be straight up and honest about this. You mentioned there are 4 separate treatments right now, but we've been
Yes.
talking about and hearing about sickle cell. I've been hearing about this since I was basically a baby when I started off when I was in school. How
Yes.
close are we to a cure, and is there enough resources going into finding a cure, especially since this is something that affects a number of us? And a lot of times we understand when it comes to the health industry in this country and the medical industry in this country, they don't do enough to help us with a cure. So what more can be done, and is there movement in that direction? Enough movement, I should say.
Yeah, well, there are a number of factors. So yes, there's not enough funding allocated for sickle cell research. We are asking for 25 million, which is actually a drop in the bucket if you think about the amounts of money that is allocated for other diseases. 25 million for 100,000 individuals in the United States. We do have a number of companies that are working on new clinical trials. But historically, we also know that African Americans have been used as guinea pigs. And so there is hesitancy and there is resistance to participating in clinical trials. One of the things that we've been working at with the Rare Disease Diversity Coalition and the Sickle Cell Disease Alliance is raising awareness of these disparities and health inequities, which I think we've all known about, but the pandemic exacerbated that information and that the plight that families are facing across the country. So what we find is that many individuals may be interested in participating in a clinical trial, but they don't finish for various reasons. They may have a crisis, so they have to be hospitalized and they can't finish. There's also suspicion and distrust of institutions. So we are working to help, on one hand, educate the pharmaceutical industry about the needs of the sickle cell patient, having their perspective and their voice at the table. And then we're also trying to educate our community about why it's important for them to participate in clinical trials.
Right.
I will share with you that during the COVID-19 pandemic and even up to today, we have massive blood shortages across the country. Well,
Yeah.
sickle cell patients need blood for blood transfusions when they're dealing with a crisis. And we're trying to encourage the African
Wow.
American community to get out there and donate blood. But again, there are also some suspicions and information about donating blood that we also are trying to address.
Yeah, because of the history of this country. You can almost understand the hesitancy when it comes to this because it affects us. It's unlike what's
Yes.
going on with COVID-19 where it affects the entire world. But we
Yes.
got to do better, and we have to find a cure because nobody should have to live with that kind of pain, that excruciating
Oh no,
pain.
no,
But
I'm
we
seeing too many
appreciate-
people in their 20s dying of sickle cell.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and not, yeah, absolutely. Like you said,
It's just
the
not right.
mortality rate as well. Beverley Francis-Gibson, we appreciate you, President, CEO of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. Keep up the work. Thank you for joining us here
Thank
on
you.
Start Your Day. And
Thanks
for
for
more on the
having
Black
me.
Women's Health Imperative, please head to our website. You're so welcome, bnc.tv.